Hello, students. I just want to wish you all good luck on your midterm exam, and also have a quick walkthrough with this study guide, so you all can improve your scores. So these are all very essential concepts as you learn Python and data analytics. And for each concept, you need to know the definitions or the to understanding the concept. But also you need to look up some cases from the readings or from Google search and to understand the concept better. Okay, and I want to clarify the sampling method. Some of you are confused about the stratified sampling method and the cluster sampling method. So I want to use image to explain this. So this is a good image. So if it's a stratified sampling method, you classify the population into different groups by their characteristics, and from each group you draw a certain number. Okay, for example, if it's a car model or if it's you're researching population, maybe you classify them with races and then draw some samples, a certain number of samples from each race. And the cluster sampling method if you divide the population, you divide into population into several clusters by convenience. For example, with the population, with races again, probably you divide the population into five clusters because of their locations, and in for each of these clusters, it should represent the diversity of the population, has different color, races of people, and then from these five clusters, you draw two cluster, and for each cluster, you look into you use all the samples in the cluster. Okay, I hope that clarifies your question. And like for these, you have to read over read over the page and understand the basic data types. Maybe not these complicate one, but just these five on the top. Okay, these are the often used data types, and you also need to understand how to set the specific data type, because for Python we don't have to specify the data type, and the program will recognize this x is an integer or this x is a float. However, you could also specify the data type with these functions. So you have to understand these also. And I think these are just easy. So for the if-else statement and the loops, you can read it in the Unit 4, and also I would suggest to you to look into the page over here on this website. So it offers good examples of how to use a for loop, how to use the if-else loop, and just read over these examples. For the array indexing and the data frame indexing, basically they are the same, and I believe you are very familiar with it. As the first number start with 0. Okay, the index for the first number is 0, and the last number, for example, here, so it gets the number on the first position and all the way to 0, 1, 2. The last number is excluded, so it only returns three numbers here. And for the graphs, you have to look into how to create the graphs and how to interpret the numbers on the graphs. especially these histograms, scatter plots, and box plots, and understand the skewness on the histogram. Okay. And for probability and conditional probability, you also need to do the examples in the textbook, or further look up more examples on the internet to understand how to do the probability and the conditional probability. And typical example for probability is rolling dice. I think that's it, and I hope you all get well prepared. And if you have any question before the exam, feel free to reach out to me. Just a quick email, or we can even set up a meeting to discuss these. Thank you.